Hey everyone, welcome back to the Atlantic Front. I'm the TheJakeman, and it's been about 18 hours since our last episode. And at that time, Hurricane Milton was a Category 1 storm. But as you know, things change quickly out here, and we're going to dive into all of the latest data. In this episode, we'll be breaking down the full spaghetti models, doing an in-depth analysis of every factor influencing the storm's path, and discussing where Hurricane Milton could potentially make landfall. Stay tuned for a detailed look at everything you need to know to stay ahead of the storm. All right, everybody. So it has been an absolute crazy town, USA. We have a Category 5 hurricane in Hurricane Milton. And at this particular point, we are taking a look at the live radar here. We're going to just do a bunch of breaking down everything and seeing how everything is looking. We're going to put some spaghetti plots down. We're going to do a lot of drawing. We're going to take care of the Atlantic front. And when we are looking at all of this, I just want to make sure that you guys are staying safe, especially those of you in Florida. The spaghetti models are starting to kind of make some concise areas or agreement that I need you guys to heed the warnings of Florida. So if they're telling you to get out, then get out. It's important that you do so. So as you see on the screen here, we've got Milton down there at the bottom there, and he's just churning up the whole deal. You have a really nice eye wall. Looks like some recycling or some is starting to kind of recirculate. And so you see a lot of this stuff, which is what you see there is a lot of the Milton spinning and then onto itself and breaks it up and then explodes back up again, which is why you see this rapid intensification. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. This one's going to be a real one, and they're saying this could be one of the 100-year storms. We're kind of looking in at some of these latest advisories. Tampa's already getting some of these feeders. Well, it looks like it's just south of the Tampa area, but it looks like things are coming in. So we're going to analyze the track and see how far it is going to go in, and then we're going to take a look. So, I knew I was going to do another episode. I just didn't realize it was going to be a Category 5 for my episode 2 of the Atlantic Front. We are now looking at the live radar. As I just said before, we're going to go ahead and take a big very large look at all of this and see exactly what Milton has done, why it's done it so fast, and what will most likely, which direction it's going to go, and see. You're going to probably see a tremendous amount of analysis from the National Weather Service and the Weather Channel, and everyone's on this because this is looking like one of those storms. It's about every 100 years, and Tampa hasn't had a really direct, I think it was Ian. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it was just, it basically took out a lot of the water. And once you see how the bay works in there, so we'll look at that here in a second, but we've got ourselves a Category 5 hurricane right there. So that Category 5 or Milton is looking like a bear, a beast, a complete and utter nightmare. The cone looks like this now, so you're kind of getting some real uniformity again, and it's even from just 16 hours ago. You saw a wider scope or a wider cone that was giving indications that there was a lot. Now, I'm not saying that it can't, go in and hit some of these areas here like this. You're really just looking at all of these areas where I'm painting here. They're all under a tremendous amount of watches and warnings. I would say probably by 2 o'clock. So the next advisory is coming up, so we're probably going to be finishing up this video when the next advisory comes in. So you're looking at a tremendous amount. They're looking at closing the They just did. They just closed the Tampa airport. So they're taking this thing very seriously. And if you are not taking this seriously, then, hunker down now, because they're telling you to really pay attention to this storm. So that being said, we are now looking at a look at what Tampa does here. So Tampa St. Pete. So we're in this zone here. When the hurricane comes in, you have it basically comes in like this. All right, it comes in, and let's say it hits like right in here at Pinellas Park or Clearwater or anything of this, and it can. The problem that we have here is that as this churns, kind of comes in like this. So let's see, for like that, kind of like this. It does this. Let's say it comes in like that. It's the counterclockwise swirling kind of looks, it's like this. So it's all coming in like that. So when it comes like this, you're talking about a bay that is all almost like, they're almost like mini islands in here. All right. So St. Pete Beach, all of this stuff. And then the only reason why this isn't an island is this one little area right here off of East Lake that just cuts out right there. And the rest of this thing can be completely underwater. You also have Tampa kind of in this zone here. So this area, what you have is a lot of these areas in here are going to probably catch a storm surge of around, they could see anywhere from 10 to 12 feet of storm surge coming in, and they just can't handle that area. So they're telling everybody to primarily get out, kind of move their way back, but they're not telling anybody to go too far out. They want people to stay in like Lakeland or Winter Haven, or even up here in the Orlando areas, but staying in the state, because there's really, what they're saying is a border, and the border looks like about this far inland is the area of concern, obviously. So if we've got our friend over here doing this, okay, so then you have a storm surge that comes in. So as it's moving its rotational around here like this, like that, it's going to push into these areas and push into like this. When we saw some wind action the last time, as it got offshore, all right, I was about here, I guess. It was probably right around here, right there. The storm surge ended up, before it got pushed in, it had areas that were it pulled the water out of the bay. It pulled it out, which is so strange. You had people coming down into Tampa from the Tampa area saying that all the water was getting sucked out first. So once it was getting sucked out, then it almost became even more detrimental. Before the water can then, it rushes right on in. And then that's the problem. It's almost like taking a water and tipping it, or a plate and tipping it, and the water just running right off of it. So it's hard to describe why the hurricanes do what they do, but it is going to do these when they come in at a Cat5. That's usually what happens. I do want to talk slightly before we get off of this. Let's take a look at how this is all coming together here, okay? So there's a couple of different things that they're all talking about on the national broadcasts, and we'll do this kind of in a standpoint of what's going on. So there's this the shear. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about this. Is kind of doing this, all right, and then there's another side of this that kind of comes in like this. It actually comes further down like this. Yeah, that's it, like that. So as this hurricane is coming up like this, it is going to then go to about a 165 here, which is a big Category 5. And then they say that's about here. And then here they say about 155. mile per hour winds, and then it moves up like this, and then it's going to go over some of this warmer water here. All right, this is this warm water, warm water. And so then they say here it's going to go down to 145. 145. Now, when I say down to 145, that's crazy because, that's I'd say that's still a powerful Category 4. So when it comes over this warmer water, I don't see it going down to 145. I think it holds its 155. So I'm thinking 150, 150 here, all right? And then I'd say probably around 145 over here. Again, I'm not even sure it's going to go down that far. I think it's going to probably hold its 150. That's what they're saying. But they're saying that it's going to come through here like this and come up into Tampa right in this zone. And it's going to be, and they say this is going to end up being, they say it's going to be 125. All right. And remember, there's this kind of a trough here of warm air that's allowing it. Okay. So once it gets here, I guess what they're saying is that it comes up and then it settles in. Now we're going to take another look over here at why they're thinking it's going to be down here as far as why it starts to die off here. Okay. Okay, so we have the wind. Now look at the wind direction here. The wind direction, and this is Zoom Earth, so thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to utilize your stuff here. So they are saying that there is this 10 mile an hour. This stuff is moving like this at 10 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, and look at this 11 miles an hour this way. All right. So remember that trough that we had that kind of does this dipping down like this. All right. So that was what it was originally going to do. And then after it comes up into this area, then once that happens, this guy is supposed to come around like this. All right. Like that. And then this wind shear is going to start to come down like this. That's what it's going to do. So first, it kind of feeds it here. It feeds it in this zone here like that, in this zone. And then the wind shear comes in and pushes it down. Okay? That is why it's doing all of the things that they're doing like this. Now, what they're saying is this is coming into the 2 o'clock. I think we've even gotten the 2 o'clock here. Everybody, it's completely changed. It is now 175 mile an hour hurricane, Category 5. It's 105 miles northwest of Mexico. Even the models haven't changed enough yet. So I'm going to get back to you, and we're going to do this. This is happening right now, folks. So maybe I should have done this live because I didn't think it was going to go to 175. Yep, that's confirmed. 175. So we are now in a 2 p.m. advisory. So it's 1:45 then, and the advisory came in, and it is now let's see here. It is now a 175 mile an hour monster. So they're saying now that it is, there we go, 175 miles an hour. So the 2 p.m., which it hasn't even really kind of gone up there yet. So this is a 175 mile massive hurricane. Okay. So the track that it is saying now is, let's see here. So did the track move? No, it is still saying that it is going to be a pretty big monster here. Let's see here. So they're thinking like this, that kind of comes in and then just hits Tampa. Now remember the wind shear that's supposed to be coming down like this, all right? Again, it's going to eat for a while in these zones, in this zone. I'm going to show you where that zone is. Right in here, this is where it's going to eat the most. because this is some really, really warm waters. This was, I think they said something like 94 here off the Yucatan. This was 90. I think this is also 94. And then this is unprecedentedly warm waters, which is why this is kind of becoming this thing and it's exploding. So just and just to recap what this thing has done, you now have, when I did my video, it was at 85 mile an hour hurricane, category 1. And by the time I hit my video going forward, and ended up being around, I'd say 9, and it was still at 90. And then I wake up the next morning at and it is a category 3 major hurricane. And then by the 2 p.m., you are looking at 175 mile an hour category 5 major hurricane. Yeah, that is a monster. So don't sleep on this guy. This guy is coming in. So the models are now saying that it's going to be going a little bit closer into, looks like, the Yucatan like that. But we are seeing some symmetry here, you know, as far as these cones, and the cones are looking like that. So when we are taking a look at this as enthusiasts and everything like this you're talking about, within the course of less than 18 hours, this thing's gone from an 80 mile an hour category 1 to now a extreme hurricane at 175 miles an hour. So they are saying the 8 p.m. Advisory looks like it's going to be around 165. So I've been saying this thing is not dying down. So I think they're saying here it's still 125. So they are saying that this wind shear is going to end up coming in. So we'll go back and look at that wind, I guess. You know, winds sitting at 46 out here, 38, 40, 56. You know, the dirty side of this is, it keeps picking up the model here, cone of uncertainty. So we're talking about sustained winds. So they're still saying that this is going to end up pushing this down like this because of that. All right. But I want you guys to take a look at this thing. This is something that's very, very good, is these models down here, or these winds are pushing a little bit, and you know, they're pushing out this way. All right. So there is a little bit of hope, I guess, as far as that. So, and it's such almost like a bullet in the water. So the problem is that a bullet can just rip right through something. That's the problem that we're seeing here. But, you know, the wind is going to be pushing this way. And I'll believe it when I see it. Because I am convinced that every single time I hit play on this, or I hit record, something else changes. So we have a current pressure at 911 millibars. And that is, let's see here. So it went from 925 to 911. So that is a pretty big drop. The eye wall is, so we're still seeing this. The satellite, or let's see the precipitation here. So we're seeing this. So there's a lot of different, the 2 p.m. is, we're looking at temperatures. So it's still too warm. So, like, you know, the air temperature is in the 80s out here. And down here, look at this, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80. It's just, and that's not even the water temperature. So the sun's cooking down on top of this. The satellite picture is we have here. Now let's look at the spaghetti plots. I've been promising these spaghetti plots for a certain amount of time here. So we're category 5, still saying 160 on the 165 down here. So this is still off of the previous tracker, but it is moving a little bit more like, so the spaghettis, I wanted to show you this because this is what it was before. and it was kind of going down a little bit more into this zone. And now we are looking at and then the cone is doing like this. So there is more certainty as far as this. My lines are a little crossed, but since they had all of theirs was more here, so it looks like it's jogged a little bit further this way, which is not good for tempo because, again, you're going to have the dirty side of the storm here, and that's what this whole thing is. So I wanted to show you the discrepancy just between where it was and now where it is now from the 2 p.m. Let's get into this. Primary things that you have to understand with these are, let's see, this is the 2 p.m. So we have obviously different models. So this is the GFS, and we can make a run on the GFS, and it looks like it's going down, 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 962, 951. Well, so they have really kind of fallen by the wayside here, and so this is about 6 hours behind. And honestly, all the hurricane tracking that I've done over the course of my life is really wild, because this is now 911 and this is showing 983, and this was the GFS. So let's see what the Canadian, and we're going to go, 985, 975. So all of these plots, all of these models have not even really hit yet. So, that's about about another 6 minutes here. This one doesn't even have it as a hurricane anymore. So that's the thing that is, I think, where it gets a little crazy for all of us. It is saying that by the 9th, it should be in this, but right now it never even said that it was going to go in that far. So hopefully by 2 o'clock, this stuff will start to kind of change, but the trajectory of this hasn't really gone that far away since I did it last night. So 953, 951, I just don't believe it. I didn't believe it when they did it before. And so I'm thinking that since the fact that the waters are so warm and they're so crazy, that this thing is becoming one of those monsters that's going to just be in this area here. And the steering kind of pushes it this way. And then you have the winds that are coming out of this area, out of the north, are pushing it like this. And then once that happens, this thing gets almost like sandwiched in this zone. And that's what's I think compressing everything into this whole thing, again, making it into that bullet formation. So let's take a look at some of the warnings and see who's really needs to take a lot of different precautions. Here we see the watches. So looks like watches all the way from Texas, all the way down to New Orleans, all the way up almost into probably Panama City areas, and all the way to Panama City, just almost Apalachicola. So the rest of it is now all hurricane warnings. So if you are in this zone here, you are you're in the way. You're got to get out of the way here. So anything, it's still saying from the 2 o'clock update here that it's going to come in as a 3. This guy's down here, so still a 4. And then we're down here, still a 4, and then it's still a 5. So they're saying it's going to be a 5 for, just a few days. Well, not too many days, because it's already the 2 o'clock advisory. So they say it's going to start to die down, but it will be a major hurricane. I still think it's going to come in as a 4, but I'm going to hope for the best. I'm going to hope beyond all measure that this is going to stay a category 3, even though the storm surge is probably going to be, no matter what we do at this point, the storm surge is going to be bad. So keep that in mind. And this is serious, and take it for all that is, for all that it is. And hopefully you guys will all stay safe. And so I'm just going to give you guys the I guess the most recent, the 2 o'clock version of the timing here. So as you see, it looks like that let's see which color. Let's see here. So we got 8 a.m. Tuesday. It's a Cat 5. 8 a.m. Wednesday. It's a Cat 4. So really tomorrow is, still going to hold on to a 5. I think they're going to change this to, I think this is going to be a 5 here, if I'm being honest. That's a 5. And I don't think this is going to be a 3. I think this is going to be a 4. It really does become, I guess, semantics at this point. But so like I said, I think that what they're looking at is more of a 4 here, and I think this is going to be a 5. But I'm going to pray that isn't the case. I'm going to pray that all of that wind shear that's coming this way and the jet stream that's kind of, doing this, I guess, like that. So that's going to push this thing down here, and you have that other guy down here. And the only really difficult guy as far as a steering perspective is this, keeping it really, really warm in this zone. So as it comes in, which I guess it doesn't come far enough to really allow it to eat as much as it should, because this thing's pushing up. So that's pushing up this way, and then this is pushing down this way. And then the storm itself, as far as, the real heat models or the real heat area that it can eat, it just comes up shy. So this water is, of course, already just so warm. So that is what is looking like right now. I am, obviously going to keep putting some up. I might even do a live at around 5 o'clock and see if we can kind of get you guys some more of the information. I'm not even going to say I've enjoyed it, because this is pretty scary, but I am happy to bring this to you guys. I know there's a lot of people that might just be using YouTube and don't have the Weather Channel, or they don't have, maybe your phone is saying one thing, but we want to keep you guys up to date as much as possible. So I am the TheJakeman. This is the Atlantic Front, and we're always going to be here for you, okay? Lots of prayers, stay safe, and we'll see you guys here on the next episode.